Welcome everybody to this video where we will be solving a few questions based on Young's modulus and work done in stretching a wire. Make sure to see that you are very much clear with the formula related to these two concepts. If not, then do refer the previous video which I have made on these two concepts. You can find the link in the description box below. Learn the theory, see the formula related to these two concepts, and then you can get back to this video to understand the sums in the best possible manner. Let's begin with the first question. There are two wires which are made of the same material which have the same volume. Keep in mind, when they say same material means that the two wires are going to have the same Young's modulus. Two wires of the same material, they might be subjected to a different stress, they might have different strains, but they are Young's modulus. Young's modulus is a property which is specific for a given material. A thick wire made of copper and a thin wire made of copper, both of them are going to have the same Young's modulus because the material is copper. If the material is same, Young's modulus is the same. So when they say same material, what they are trying to tell you is the Young's modulus for both the wires is the same, and that is why I have written Y1 equal to Y2. They have the same volume. Volume for a wire is like volume for a cylinder because a wire is assumed to be in the shape of a cylinder. So same volume means A1 L1 is A2 L2 because the volume of a cylinder is given by A into L. The next thing they are saying is, however, the wire 1 has a cross-sectional area A and the wire 2 has a cross-sectional area equal to 3A. Okay, so we have A1 equal to A, A2 as 3A, which means that we will get the ratio of length as well. From this equation we realize that L2 upon L1 is going to be A1 upon A2, but A1 is A and A2 is 3A. If you cancel off that A in the numerator and denominator, you get L2 upon L1 as 1 upon 3. So we have the ratio of lengths. A1 and A2 are known, so we have the ratio of areas also. If the length of wire 1 increases by an amount X, on applying a force equal to F, then how much force will be needed to stretch the wire 2 by the same amount? So you are stretching the wire 1 and wire 2 by the same amount, which means the increase in length of wire 1, which is L1, is the same as increase in length of wire 2, which is equal to L2, and both of them are equal to X. Let's try to plug in all these or let's try to just put in all that data in Y1 equal to Y2. The formula for Young's modulus was FL upon AL. So for the wire 1 we can say F1 L1 upon A1 L1. For the wire 2 we will write it as F2 L2 upon A2 L2. Now we know that small L1 and small L2 are equal and both of them are equal to X. So if I put L1 and L2 as X in the formula here, they get cancelled on the left and right, so that term simply vanishes. I can put A1 as A and I can put A2 as 3A because that has been given to me in the question itself. A1 was A, A2 was 3A. So having put A1 and A2 as A and 3A, we can cancel off one A in the denominator of left and that A in the denominator of right, which will leave us with a 3 in the denominator of right hand side. We can also put L2 upon L1 as 1 upon 3. L2 is right here. I can take that L1 from left hand side and bring it in the denominator of L2. L2 upon L1, we know it is 1 upon 3. So we are writing that L2 upon L1 as 1 upon 3. Also, we know that on the first wire we have applied a force equal to F. So F1 is equal to F. So finally on solving this you will have F2. The denominator here becomes 9. That 9 goes on the left and you get the value of F2 as 9F. So the force required to stretch the wire 2 by the same amount will be 9F. That is making option D the right answer for this question. Let's go ahead with the next question. Calculate the work done in stretching a steel wire of length 2 meters. The cross-sectional area is 0.0225 millimeter square when a load of 100 Newton is slowly applied to the free end. The Young's modulus has been given to us. So work done per unit volume. We know that the formula for this was half into strain square Y or half into stress square upon Y. Which formula should we use here? So we know the force, we know the area of cross section, which means that we are given stress. So the formula that we will prefer to use will be half into stress square upon Y. keep in mind that if you use only half into stress square upon y, that value will be a wrong value because that would represent simply the work done per unit volume. What you need to calculate is the entire work done. So you need to take that volume on the right hand side and write that volume as A into L, and that is what will finally give you the expression or the value of work done. So work done will be half. We can write stress as F upon A. So we have this formula as half into F square upon A square, but one A will get cancelled with this A. So in the denominator we will have A, Y and capital L. Yeah, that is what we will be left with. We write the value of F square as the square of 100. That should be 10 power 4. Keep in mind that in the denominator you have the area, which is 0.0225 mm square. You need to understand that 1 mm square, you need to convert that to meters because meters would be the standard unit, and only then you can use that value in your questions. Millimeter, 1 mm, milli means 10 power minus 3. So 1 millimeter would be 10 power minus 3 meters. If I take a cube on both the sides, okay, it's not a cube, I'll have to take a square there because I need the conversion of 1 mm square. So if I square both the sides, then 1 mm square, I realize that that should be equal to 10 to the power minus 6 meter square, and that ultimately is the conversion. So we write this 0.0225 millimeter square as 0.0225 into 10 to the power minus 6 meter square. We can further simplify and write it as 2.25 into 10 power minus 8. Writing it as 2.25 10 power minus 8 would be a better option. Multiplied by, we have written F square, we have written A, we are yet to write Y. So Y will be 2 into 10 power 11. And in the numerator you have L, the length of the wire being 2 meters. So let's see what's getting cancelled. This 2 cancels off the 2 here. 2.25 into 2, that would give us 4.5 in the denominator. The number here we had was 10 power minus 8. So 10 power minus 8 and 10 power 11 makes it 10 power 3 in the denominator, and 10 power 3 in the denominator cancels off 10 power 4 in the numerator. That simply leaves us with a 10 in the numerator. So the work done is finally 10 upon 4.5. 10 upon 4.5, we can write that as 100 upon 45, and 100 upon 45 cancel the numerator and denominator. You can divide the numerator and denominator with 5. So that should give you a 9 here and a 20 here. So this would be 20 upon 9. Divide the two numbers, you would get 2 recurring 2. So 2.2222 joules, that should be the final answer, which is option A. Let's go ahead with the third question. This is a good question. It's actually an easy question, but it's not that straightforward. So let's read that question. The length of an elastic string is P meters when the tension is 4 Newton. The longitudinal tension means the force that you have applied to stretch the wire. Anything that you are applying along the length is longitudinal. So if this is the wire, you applied a force here. The force was pulling the wire along the length. If you are pulling the wire along its length, it is longitudinal. The force is longitudinal and it is equal to 4 Newton. So when the force was 4 Newton, it's the total length that was P meters. The total length was Q meters when the tension was 5 Newton. You need the length of the string, that's what you require in this question, in meters when the longitudinal tension, that is the force in the wire, will be 9 Newtons. So here, the total length has been given. We don't know what is the elongation or what is the original length. Let us say that the original length is equal to capital L, and in that case, when the length is P meters, the elongation would be P minus L. When the elongation is Q meters, the elongation would be Q minus L. When the total length of the wire is Q meters, the extension would be Q minus L. So now let's try to apply it in the formula for Young's modulus. We know that the wire is very much the same in first case and second case. So Y1 will be equal to Y2. F1 L1 upon A1 small l1 equal to F2 L2 upon A2 into small l2. the cross-sectional area for both the wires, let us assume it is the same because they are talking of the same wire. If they are talking of the same wire, the cross-sectional area for both the cases is going to be the same. Okay, F1 is the force in the first case. So in the first case the force is 4 Newton, so I am writing it as 4. In the second case the force is 5 Newton, so let's write F2 as 5. L1 and L2 are basically the original lengths of the wire. In this case the wire is the same, it is only an extension for two different conditions. So if the original length is the same for both cases, L1 and L2 will be the same, they get cancelled, and finally I need to write the denominator small l1 and small l2. Small l1 was the extension in the first wire. If the actual length is P and the original length was L, the extension we can say is P minus L. So I am writing the extension in first case as P minus L, and for the second case the extension would be Q minus L. And this equation, when we solve it, we will get the value for capital L. So we have 4Q minus 4L is equals to 5P minus 5L. I can take that 5L on the left, I can take 4Q on the right, so that should give me L as 5P minus 4Q. And that is an expression that we are going to remember. We have the original length, the expression for original length in terms of P and Q, which we can now use in the third case to answer whatever question they are asking. Let's rub out this entire thing, except for that final result which we will be using later on in this question. If the tension in the string is 9 Newton, let's treat it as case number 3. So we will say Young's modulus in case 3 will be the same as Young's modulus in case 1. Young's modulus in case 3, F3L3 upon A3L3. It should be a small l3 here. On the right you will have F1L1 upon A1L1. The area of cross section for the wire will be the same because in both cases your wire is the same. So let's cancel off that area. Capital L1 and capital L3 is also the same because the original length for the wire in both cases is going to be the same. It's going to be capital L only for both the cases. So we cancel off that L. F3 has been given to us as 9 Newton. F1 has been given to us as 4 Newton. So we write that as 4. L1 is elongation in the first case, which was P minus L. Let us say the actual length of the wire is X. So in this case the elongation would be X minus L. And finally what we need to find is the total length of the string, which we just said was equal to X. So if X was the length, the elongation was X minus L. Now we just need to solve that entire expression and substitute L from equation 1 that we just got here. That should give us our final answer. So we have 9P minus 9L equal to 4x minus 4l. If I take that 4l on the left, I have 4x is equals to 4p minus 5l. Take that 4 in the denominator here and you have the value of x in terms of l. So the value of x will now be 9p minus 5. Let's write the value of l that we had got from equation 1. This l is what I am writing as 5p minus 4q, and the whole thing there was divided by 4. Okay, so let's rub out even this part now. We are dividing the entire thing here by 4. Let's simplify it in the numerator only. 5 into 5p would be a 25p, and minus 5 into minus 4q would give you a plus 20q. So minus 25p plus 20q is what we just got. So the value of x would be minus 16p, split that and you will have minus 4p, plus 20 by 4 would be plus 5q. So minus 4p and plus 5q, that's given in option B. So B out there is going to be the right answer. Let's continue with the next question. Now this is a question from JEE Mains 2019. It's a very easy question, but the tricky part here was the calculation. So take a very closer look at the way we are solving this question. It would be a fun thing to learn. The elastic limit of brass wire is 379 megapascal. Elastic limit means the maximum stress up till which the wire is going to behave elastic. Beyond this stress, the wire wouldn't be elastic. That is, if you remove the stress, the wire will not be able to regain the original dimensions again, and some permanent deformation will remain in the wire. In short, the elastic limit has been given to us, that is the maximum stress to which you can subject that brass wire to without creating any permanent deformation in it is the elastic limit, which has been given to you as 379 megapascal. In short, this represents the stress. What should be the minimum diameter? They are asking you the minimum diameter of the brass rod so that it can support 400 Newton load without exceeding the elastic limit. So the stress 379 megapascal. Mega means 10 to the power 6. That should be given by force upon area because this represents the stress. Force would be 400 Newton. That is what they have given to us. The cross-sectional area, we can write it as pi r square. R will be written as d by 2. And when we go for d by 2 square, we get it as d square divided by 4. I can take that 4 in the numerator and write it right here. Now we need the diameter, right? So we take that d square on the left. So we have d square as 400 into 4. Divided by, we have a pi term with us. Multiplied by 379. Let's just write it as 380 into 10 to the power 6. Well, what if we take a small approximation there? If this is 3.14. Okay. If this is 3.14, I am approximating this with 3. So I am reducing the value of pi slightly. And if I am reducing the value of pi slightly, I can increase this value slightly and make it 400. It's a little bit too much to do, but okay, we are going to get an approximate answer. Let's see how close we reach to the actual answer. Just cancel off that 4 approximately, and 3 and 4 get cancelled, giving you 1.33. So we have 1.33 into 10 to the power minus 6, or let's keep it as 4 by 3. We will keep it as 4 by 3. So we have diameter as 4 by 3, and that 10 power 6 goes in the numerator and becomes 10 to the power minus 6. We now take a square root because what we just got was the value for d square. So d will be equal to 2 because the root of 4 will be 2 divided by root 3, which is approximately 1.732. I am again taking it approximately as 1.7 into the root of 10 power minus 6 would be 10 power minus 3. So we get the diameter is 2 upon 1.7. It's approximately 20 upon 17. If we try to divide it, this would be 1 point. We get a 3 in the denominator. That makes it 30. 17 ones are 17. Then 13. So 130. 130. 17 into what should give me something? 17 and 85. 102. 119. So 1.17 approximately is what I am getting into 10 to the power 3 into 10 to the power minus 3. This was in meters. So if I want to write it in mm, I can just take that 10 power minus 3 and write it as millimeters. So we get the approximate diameter as 1.17 millimeter, indicating that option A is the right answer there. So these are some big and small approximations that we had done to reach up to this approximate answer. And this is a very peculiar property about the questions that appear in JEE mains. In spite of the question being a very straightforward question, they will challenge you with your abilities of calculating numbers. And at that point of time, you should be in a position to take a few approximations and reach some nearby answer that will help you to eliminate every other option and select the nearest option as your right answer. So here the right answer would be option A. And with that, let's go ahead with the next question. Let's go ahead with the next question. It says that a rubber cord catapult has an area of cross section of 25 mm square and an initial length of 10 centimeters. A rubber catapult means what you popularly call batchki. It is something of this shape. You are attaching a rubber band over here and you take a small piece, something like a stone, and you just pull the rubber band. When you release the rubber band, the stone will fly off and it will hit your friend. So I am sure you have done this in school, and at least I have done it in school. My friends have done it with me. Still, if you don't get it, it's that thing with which those Angry Birds are released. So in that game, Angry Birds, you were attaching a rubber piece here. That rubber piece was being stretched, and when you release it, that Angry Bird used to just fly off and hit whatever was present at the other side. So in short, a rubber catapult means a batch key. It is having a cross-sectional area of 25 mm square, means the rubber that you're pulling is having a cross-sectional area of 25 mm square. The initial length is 10 centimeters. It is being stretched by 2 centimeters and then released to launch a stone whose mass is 5 grams. Taking the Young's modulus to be 5 into 10 to the power 8 Newton per meter square, what would be the velocity of the stone? Now this problem is exactly the same, okay, not exactly, but very much similar to a sum that had appeared in JEE Mains 2019. The concept is exactly the same. I have only changed the numbers in this question. So if you understand how this question is going to get solved, that particular question which is similar to this one in JEE Mains 2019, you will be able to solve that sum also very easily. So here the concept would be this, that when you are stretching a rubber band, you are storing potential energy in it. And that potential energy which was stored in the rubber band because of stretching, it will be imparted to the stone, it will be given to the stone in the form of kinetic energy. So kinetic energy of the stone, that is half mv square, that should be equal to the potential energy which has been stored in the wire. The potential energy stored in the wire, that is work done on the wire, that will be given by half strain square y. The formula is still incomplete because this only gives the work done per unit volume. We have to write it as half strain square y multiplied by volume of the wire, which is A into L. Now one thing you need to be careful with over here is, why are we using the strain square y formula? Why not half into stress into strain, or why not half into stress square upon y? That is because we know the initial length of the rubber cord, and we know that by how much we are pulling that rubber cord. So we know the change in length and we know the original length. That means we know the strain, and that is the reason we are going to use the formula half into strain square y. Let's begin with the substitution of the terms. So we will have half. M is mass of the stone, which has been given to us as 5 grams. We can't write the mass in grams. We need to write it in kg because kg is the standard unit. So 5 grams would be 5 into 10 to the power minus 3 kg multiplied by v square, that is the velocity of the stone. That should be equal to half. Strain square, you are increasing the length by 2 centimeters and the original length was 10 centimeters. So strain would be 2 upon 10, that is equal to 0.2, the square of which will be 0.04. So we write it as 4 into 10 to the power minus 2. The Young's modulus has been given to us as 5 into 10 to the power 8. Then we are given the area of cross section, which is 25 into 10 to the power minus 6. Okay, we need to write mm square in meter square. The way you do it is like this. 1 millimeter is 10 to the power minus 3 meters. And when you take a square on both the sides, you get 1 mm square is equals to 10 to the power minus 6 meter square. So we are writing the area as 25 into 10 to the power minus 6. And then we need to write the length of the wire, which has been given to us as, not the wire, the rubber cord, the length of the rubber cord, which is 10 centimeters. So in meters, we can write it as 10 to the power minus 1. Let's cancel off the terms which we can cancel on the left and right. So a half gets cancelled, a 5 gets cancelled. Let's just eliminate them, so that we can see only the numbers that we have to deal with. 10 power minus 2, 10 power 8 and 10 power minus 6, all of them get cancelled amongst themselves. So all that we are left with is 4 into 25 into 10 to the power minus 1. 10 power minus 3 on the left can be taken on the right. So that becomes into 10 to the power 3, and 10 power minus 1 into 10 to the power 3, that would be 10 to the power 2. All this represents the value of v square. So v would be 2 into 5 into 10 to the power 1. So that becomes 10 into 10, which is equal to 100 meter per second. So that is going to be the velocity of the stone, which makes option C the right answer for this question. Yet again a question from JEE Mains 2019. Looks like a massive question, but trust me, it's a very simple one. Just read it and you'll get the solution in a snap of fingers. In an experiment, you have a brass wire and a steel wire of lengths 1 meter and areas of cross section for both of them are 1 mm square. So that's the area of cross section. Both of them have a length equal to 1 meter. The wires are connected in series and one end of the wires is connected to a rigid support and the other end is subjected to some kind of elongation. So if this is your rigid support, this is your wire number 1 and this is your wire number 2. One end of the wire you have connected it to a rigid support and the other elongation, and at the other end you are going to stretch the wire so that the wires are going to start elongating. Now what they are asking you is, what is the stress that you require to produce a net elongation of 0.2 mm? You need to realize that net elongation means the total elongation. So total elongation means L1 plus L2 has to be equal to 0.2 mm. So we can write it as 0.2 into 10 to the power minus 3. That is 2 into 10 to the power minus 4. This is your net elongation. The formula for Young's modulus was y equal to FL upon AL. And that is why the formula for L, elongation, becomes FL upon AY. We will prefer to write F upon A as stress because they are asking us the stress only. Okay, in fact, let's keep it as F upon A only for now. FL upon AY will be the formula for small l, and let's just put it here. So small l, we are writing it as F1 L1 upon A1 Y1 plus F2 L2 upon A2 Y2. That should be 2 into 10 to the power minus 4. Now you need to understand that whenever two wires are connected in series, the net elongation is the total of the two elongations, and that condition we used here. But at the same time, the force that you are applying on the two wires is going to be the same. So whether you talk about F1 or whether you talk about F2, the two of them are going to be the same. And that is why I am not separately writing it as F1 and F2. I am writing it simply as F for both the wires. They have also said that the area of cross section for both the wires is the same. So we will simply write it as A only and not A1 and A2. F upon A is common to both the terms. So let's pull out F upon A common. So in the bracket we are going to be left with L1 upon Y1 plus L2 upon Y2 with F upon A coming out common, and that F upon A is the stress. And that stress is what we need to calculate in this question. So up till now we have not solved anything. We have only and only rearranged the formula, and with rearrangement of the formula itself we have almost our answer to this question. L1 and L2, both of them are equal to 1 meter only. So we can simply put L1 and L2 as 1. When you combine the two terms on the left hand side, the left hand side becomes Y1 plus Y2 upon Y1 Y2. And that Y1 plus Y2 upon Y1 into Y2 you can take it on the right. So that would be 2 into 10 to the power 4. 2 into 10 to the power minus 4 into Y1 Y2 upon Y1 plus Y2. And that would represent your required stress. Okay. So to compute that, let us substitute Y1 Y2. Let's write it on a different page. So we have stress as 2 into 10 to the power minus 4 Y1 Y2 upon Y1 plus Y2. So Y1 is what? Y1 is 120 10 to the power 9 and Y2 is 60 10 to the power 9. So 120 10 to the power 9 into 60 into 10 to the power 9 divided by Y1 plus Y2, that would be 120 plus 60 into 10 to the power minus 9. So that is 180 into 10 to the power 9. We can cancel out 10 to the power 9 in the numerator and denominator. Cancel off this 0 here, this 0 here. 6 2s are, 6 3s are, 3 1s are, 3 into 20s are, and finally we have what? 20 and 10. Okay, we have a 10 power 9 here. This is 20. So let's make it 10 to the power 10 and 10 to the power minus 4. That makes it 10 to the power 6. The remaining numbers are 2, 2 and 2. So that makes it 8 into 10 to the power minus 6 Pascal. Because the standard unit for stress would be Pascal. So 8 into 10 to the power 6 Pascal or Newton per meter square, they mean one and the same thing. The right answer there would be option B. It was a very simple question. You just need to be alert about which formula to apply where, which term is coming out common from where, which term is going where. If you are clear with all those calculations, the sum was a cakewalk. One last question for this video, and I have taken this question from the JEE advanced papers. It's a very easy question, although it was in the JEE advanced papers. Let's check the question. One end of a horizontal thick copper wire. So a horizontal thick copper wire of length 2L. The radius is 2R. I'll not draw it here. Just keep in mind the radius is 2R. It is welded with a thin. It is welded to an end of another thin copper wire of length L. So let's say there is a thin copper wire here of length L. And the two wires have been welded together. Keep in mind both of them are copper wires. Because both of them are copper wires, you need to straight away understand that you have to apply Y1 equal to Y2. Nobody is going to tell you all these things. These are some unspoken things or unwritten things which you need to understand. The wires are of the same material, so their Young's modulus are going to be equal. Okay. The second wire has a length L and its radius also has been given to us as capital R. When the arrangement is stretched by applying a force at the two ends, so you are applying a force at this end of the wire and at this end of the wire, and you are stretching the two wires, the ratio of elongation in the thin wire to that in the thick wire will be what? You need to understand that the two wires have been connected in series. When the two wires have been connected in series, the force that you are applying on both the wires is going to be equal, and the net elongation will be the total of the two elongations. We don't need the net elongation here. All we need to understand is that because the wires are connected in series, the force applied on the first wire will be equal to force applied on the second wire. Let's rub out this diagram because it's no longer important to us. We had to start with Y1 equal to Y2. Y1 is F1 L1 upon A1 L1, and Y2 will be F2 L2 upon A2 L2. Because the wires are connected in series, F1 and F2 are equal, so we are cancelling them out. L1 is length of the first wire, the thick wire, which has a length equal to L2. They have given it right here. Check this, the first wire having a length of L2 in the sense 2L. So we are writing a 2L there in place of L1. And the second wire has a length of L. So for the thin wire, we are writing L2, that is the length of it as capital L. A1 will be pi r square. But radius of the first wire is 2r. So we can write that area as pi into 4r square. And A2 is going to be area of the second wire whose radius is r. So we can write its area as pi r square. You can cancel off that pi r square on the left and right. That will make you have a 4 in the denominator of the left hand side. And we can cancel this L also here and here. This 2 gets cancelled up and down, and we have a 1 upon 2 here. We wanted the ratio of elongations in the two wires. Apologies for this mistake. This had to be a small L2 here. Okay. So we need the ratio of elongation in the thin wire to that of the thick wire. That means we need the value for L2 upon L1. 2 was representing the thin and 1 was representing the thick wire. So from here you can say that L2 upon L1 is going to be 2 upon 1. So the right answer there would be option C. So I am done with whatever sums I wanted to discuss in this video. I hope that whatever sums I have solved in this video have someplace, somewhere helped you in your preparations. Thank you for watching.